when you feel jealous, I don't want you to run from it. I want you to dive headfirst into it and go, yep, I feel jealous. Own it. Own the emotion. This is how we do shadow work. Jealousy is a shadow emotion and energy that we love to avoid. Oh, let's get biblical, shall we? Right? And 7 sins. Envy is one of them. Avoid it. Oh my gosh, you're gonna avoid envy? Damn. You gotta become Bubble Boy, don't you? Welcome back to Proper Madness. I'm happy to have you back if you're a returning listener. If you're a new listener, my name is Sabby, and I have a very unique perspective on mental health. I believe wholeheartedly that we can turn anything that we have been through and alchemize it into bettering ourselves mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. It helps you feel less alone, to know and understand that the way out is always through the eye of the storm. Grab a cup of tea. If you're not a tea drinker, grab your coffee, and let's sit down and tune into ourselves so that we can learn to connect to other people. We never know the weight of our words and how they might help someone. Been a little bit since I've done a podcast, if you will. I feel like I'm quite small. I am. If you don't know this about me, I say it all the time. I am 5 feet tall. I'm gonna sit on a pillow and I'm not gonna, you know what? You can't shame me. Okay, great. Hello, my little cuties. I'm so sorry that I abandoned and neglected you because, to be honest, I was abandoning and neglecting myself. I had a lot of things happening in my life in the last few weeks. I had my big launch for my community, Become the Art. Now, before you get a little squeamish there, and you're like, oh God, is she selling us something? Dude, everyone's gonna make a living. I just so happened to do something I flippin' love, you know? I didn't ask to become a teacher. It simply happened by so many different things, and we will talk about that probably a little later in the episode, but for now, if you've read the title of this, you're correct. A little backwards, isn't it? Huh. Jealousy. A really fun one. Jealousy to me is something that I have felt the majority of my life and still continue to feel because I'm a human being, and so are you. Now, we have all these shadow emotions that we love to stuff away because we're like, oh, this is bad. Oh my gosh, I'm jealous of my best friend? That's terrible. Is it? Let me tell you a little story, right? That's what I do for a damn living. Hang on. Pouring the tea. I wish you could see this. Listen, when this blows up and I get a bunch of brand deals and, the money's flowing in, I'm gonna get a second damn camera so you can see my tea set up every episode, all right? So help a girl out. Anyways, cheers. So, story is, I have started dating again. I've started talking to people. I've started interacting with more of my community and like being out and about. Because I've been living my life and around more people, and this is going to sound so basic, but to be honest, just like listen. I have caught myself meeting so many people who are where I'd like to be in life, who I date, um, who I speak to, who I hang out with. All these people are very successful individuals, and I find myself often feeling a little insecure, like, I don't really feel like this sounds terrible, but I'm dating people who are doing better than me, and I honestly think that's a great thing. Like I'm not gonna put myself on a pedestal and say, I got all this going on. I am proud of where I've come from. I know I have a long way to go, and I'm not scared of that. But in life, there's always going to be someone who's going to be, quote, better than you, than something, than you are. That's how it is, right? And you can sit there and be like, well, we shouldn't compare ourselves to other people. Yes, but dude, you're gonna do it. What do you mean? You're gonna have moments where you're like, whoa, this person is like in better shape than me. This person's making a lot more money than me. They have a lot more success. Oh my gosh, they're living their dreams. Okay. So when you start surrounding yourself with people who are where you'd like to be, it pushes you to become as good as them, which is a great thing. Sometimes, little side note, sometimes to avoid the jealousy, to avoid the insecurity, to avoid the internal work that we know we need to do, we downgrade ourselves and surround ourselves with people that we know are not people we can actually truly really relate to. And now I'm not being shallow and I'm not being materialistic saying you can't hang out with anyone that's not as successful than you. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying tread carefully in putting yourself in a group, in a community where you know you will not be understood, where you know you have not a single damn thing in common with these people and they don't have the same values that you have, right? Because ambition can look very different for two very different people in life. Ambition to one person could be like, dude, I want to be a millionaire. Ambition to another person is, I want to be, I want to be a provider. I want to have a family. Doesn't matter what the outcome is. That same value system are the types of people you should surround yourself with. Like, and I've talked about this, so go find other episodes and don't come for me in my comments. Anyways, so when you start surrounding yourself with people that you know are always working on themselves, always hungry, always like trying to do something great with themselves in their life, physically, emotionally, spiritually, materially, whatever. These are all things that are outside of us. So what's happening is we're relating our worth to the measure of other to the measure of the outcome of what other people have or do not have, which is a dangerous thing to do. So when we surround ourselves with these people, the very normal, healthy emotions that you're going to experience are jealousy, envy, and insecurity, which they're the same. You would not feel jealous or envious of someone if you felt insecure, if you did not feel insecure, right? Jealousy is something you need to tap more into because the more you run away from feeling jealous or feeling envious, almost like avoiding people that you know you shouldn't be around or that you know you shouldn't like watch or learn from because you feel inadequate in some way, you're actually doing yourself a disservice in your growth and where you're going to go. Florence Given is like the coolest damn person ever, right? She's very successful at what she does. She's very well spoken. She's highly intelligent. She's very successful. I was avoiding listening to her podcasts, as consuming any of her content, even though I was a follower of hers, because something in it made me feel jealous. Something in it made me feel envious. Something in it made me go, damn, I wish I was where she was. And I was like, hang on, what is this emotion actually showing me? It's showing me I'm jealous because I'm not putting in the same amount of work and energy that she is. I'm not I'm not doing what I love because I love it. I'm doing it out of like habit or oh God, I should have to do it because I need to be successful. No, it's the energy of how she does things is what I was quote envious of. And so then I took a good hard look at myself and I was like, well, that's mirroring back to me the fact that like I wake up every day and when I quote do my business and work, I'm treating it like I hate it instead of something that I love, which kind of bypasses the whole reason why I did it in the first place. So the jealousy had nothing to do with her and everything to do with, oh my gosh, I'm not showing up in the way that I know I could be out of enjoyment and love, out of taking up space, out of X, Y, and Z. The second way this showed up was a very basic example, right? I was at the gym, beautiful girl passed by me, and I just remember looking at her body. And I was like, damn, she's got a killer body. And so I felt so jealous and envious. I felt like I needed to shrink. I was like, oh, I was like, oh my God, I just want to go home and like hide. I don't want to come back to the gym. Maybe I'll change my gym times. Notice already what I'm doing to avoid that emotion, right? Notice, just I'm avoiding feeling the feelings that are coming up. I'm avoiding the insecurity. When I avoid all these emotions, I am perpetuating the same loop and the same cycle of where I am neglecting myself because the truth is and was at that time a few weeks ago, I was snacking a lot. I was not getting in my 10K steps a day. To be honest, I didn't even lift weights or dance for like 2 weeks. It was like really intermittent. I was, I mean, your girl was just a little, she was, she was really neglecting her health physically. So all the jealousy was doing was showing me, hey, I feel jealous because this is where I feel like I've neglected myself. Take that and apply it to anything and everything else. When you feel jealous, I don't want you to run from it. I want you to dive headfirst into it and go, yep, I feel jealous. Own it. Own the emotion. This is how we do shadow work. Jealousy is a shadow emotion and energy that we love to avoid. Let's get biblical, shall we? Right? And 7 sins. Envy is one of them. Avoid it. Oh my gosh, you're gonna avoid envy? Damn. You gotta become bubble boy, don't you? Stay inside. Don't live your life. That's how you stop being jealous. Or you just suppress the emotion and the envy. That does not sound very healthy, does it? Now, where this comes into self-expression and identity work, which is all the lovely, juicy, beautiful things that we have been talking about on this platform for a while, which we all know it all leads into creativity, right? I'm going to repeat it. And I feel like if there's an audience, you guys would say this out loud. So say it out loud. How you create is how you live, and your life is your art, right? So if how you're living is you're suppressing your damn emotions and you're running away from these shadow feelings, well, Jiminy Christmas. You're suppressing your very basic emotion and human desire to express and to feel that. In dance class, as we all know, the type of dance that I did was sensual embodiment, which was at its core feeling emotions and moving from my emotions and not performing. Not performing and moving for the audience, but moving for myself to move those emotions. In that studio, very often there would be, people who were better dancers than me, people who could emote better than me, people who could do a lot of different things better than me. But I was so focused on comparing myself to them instead of just focusing on what I wanted, on feeling my emotions, on taking up my space, on feeling what I was feeling. So when we hit that comparison mode, don't avoid it. Observe and go, what am I avoiding within myself right now? Huh. Well, these girls are, quote, better dancers than me, right? What's the reality? Am I practicing? Am I showing up to class every day? Am I putting in my best effort? So catch the cycle. Because when you express yourself, you want to express and show up as a version of you that is not always projecting the emotions that they're suppressing. You ever notice that, like, when you're in a bad mood or you're feeling insecure and you talk to someone, suddenly you're seeing them through the lens of your insecurity and your emotions? No? It's probably what's happening, right? And then, like, a week later, you're going, oh my God, why did I react that way? That's so weird. I mean, unless you're a woman in her luteal phase and sometimes we don't see shit clearly, but even still, right? Like, during that phase, ladies, lean into those emotions that are coming up. Like, they're coming up for you to feel for a reason. You don't need to create a story and project it onto a whole scenario of a situation. You don't. You just need to feel. You need to feel it and allow it to speak to you so you know what shadow to move through. Most of my students in Become the Art, one of my students very recently, she left the program, right? Because she hit the end and it's time for her to go. And when we had our last call together, she said something really interesting to me that kind of made me giggle. She was like, I feel like when I wasn't showing up, you were disappointed in me. Context. She stopped creating. She stopped showing up online. She stopped using her voice. She just kind of hid all of a sudden because she had all these really deep, 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 dark emotions that she was moving through. And her nervous system reacted to, well, okay, I'm gonna hide. That's the safest thing I can do right now is I'm gonna hide because I feel like how I'm feeling and what I'm going through is wrong. And if I were to show up in a way that was quote wrong, then that wouldn't be art and I'd feel shameful and whatever. The list goes on, right? And so on our call, she goes, yeah, I felt like, to be honest, I felt like when I disappeared, you were disappointed in me. And I told her, I go, did I tell you I was disappointed in you? She goes, no. I'm like, hmm. I go, well, who in your life has expressed disappointment in you the most? She goes, well, my mom. I was like, mm. I go, can we go back to a time in your life when you were going through a lot and you didn't show up or you didn't do something and she was disappointed in you? She goes, yes. I was like, well, that's the root cause of that. So when we allow these dark emotions to overtake us and overtake our nervous system and overtake our feelings and how we show up and how we express ourselves, well, then we're going to do the opposite of what we know we should do. Now, I'm not saying if you're really going through it, don't take a break. No, no. Sometimes we avoid expression because we don't even want to hear what we're feeling. Because someone in our life told us that they didn't want to hear what we were feeling. 9 times out of 10, when we express and we're scared, there's a voice in the back of our head from one single experience that's holding us back, right? This has layers. So when these darker emotions show up, the jealousy, the envy, the pain, the suppression, the disappointment, feel them. What are they actually telling you? You know what the truth also was? She was disappointed in herself. She's like, why did I abandon my art? Why did I abandon myself instead of trying to show up for myself? So, that's today's episode. I know I've talked a lot about Become the Art and House of the Muse. Now, I know it's going to get a little confusing for you. You're like, wait a second. You have a Substack called House of the Muse. You're correct. Become the Art is now just the whole umbrella for everything, right? So, the way I structured it is purposely so that you actually have more community and not that you're like a number. So when we do this work on ourselves and we're trying to move through the pieces and parts of our identity that we've been neglecting because everyone and their mothers keep saying you need to become someone else, I'm here to help you remember who the hell you are, right? Because a lot of people need your voice. A lot of people need your truth. They need your story, but they need it from you, not the version of you that you decide to create, not the version of you that you suppress because of your shadows, right? So, yeah, if you're curious about that, everything is in the description box below. Don't be a stranger. Don't be shy. If you're listening to this, I did a hair flip. You're welcome. It's good to be back. I'm not making any promises about how often I will show up, but I'm here. I'm back. We're gonna show up. And I'm excited to be here. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, and most of all, thank yourself for like tuning in, and listening and knowing that like I will always be that super direct voice, but I will also always be that hand guiding you home to you. If you haven't subscribed or followed, you should do it. Okay, so you're tuned in to when I upload because no one really knows when that happens, right? So instead of it being a surprise and you have to go chase me, I like to be chased. But instead of chasing me, I'll just pop up on your phone. Wouldn't that be nice? Probably. Okay, I love you guys. Have a great rest of your week. Rest of your week? What happened there? Have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you on the next one. I encourage you to follow, like, subscribe, and rate this so that it pushes it out to whoever else might need it. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you ever want to chat more about anything that this podcast is about, you know where to find me. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, and good old TikTok. And be sure to stay tuned for my Tea Time with Sabby episodes.